Hi, this is Clever Sausage, and I've seen my usual thing, researching some information, and was on YouTube actually looking at Chloe Singer and what he was saying about the Jews and compared to the Christian belief system, the theology, how they're using the Jewish scriptures to back up the New Testament scriptures, or they're like using the Old Testament, claiming there's prophecies in the Old Testament revealed in the New Testament, and vice versa, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and then I was checking out my different YouTube accounts because I've got them all in sections, right? Like I got one for trying to get hold of this one that I had ages ago. I didn't realise with all these Gmails that I'd actually created these YouTube channels, right? So I've got one called the Couch Kumara, and that's where I expose all this hype, fluff, BS, basically, right? That's been sold us out there as the truth, the gospel truth, by these Christian churches, these pastors, etc., like that. No disrespect to them all, right? They got their qualifications, whatever like that. Kudos to them, but sometimes because I guess they've got an agenda, had a motive, whatever, to push the church. It's been like that for centuries, probably through the Orthodox Church, who wanted everybody to be coming through them and them alone, and that way they can control people, all that sort of so-called history, right? Go do your own research, check that out, don't take my word for it. And then you got today the prosperity churches. Yes, you got to plant a seed because God said so, and you'll get, if you plant a seed, you grow, you reap a harvest, you get 10 to 100 times back from God. And then you don't, as I mentioned in other videos. Give them money for Israel and all that sort of stuff. They're supposedly arming themselves secretly, like cutting out everybody else. No nukes for you, only us, sort of thing. Got America on the run. They're scared, poopless, crapless of them, right? Got something over them, and this goes on and on like that. Okay, so I speak through my experience of coming across different Christians from different denominations, different belief systems, cults, sects, organisations, whatever you want to call them, right? Denominations. That tell me this, tell me that, right? And it doesn't match what's in their book, right? In black and white, whatever that book is, be it the Book of Mormon, Book of the Great Controversy, or whatever, right? Or the normal Bible, okay? Be it King James, ESV, ASV, whatever, right? What they're saying to me is not matching what's in black and white, and it's not matching what's in the actual ancient manuscripts of the ancient Aramaic, Assyrian Aramaic, or Assyrian, or Galilean Aramaic that supposedly Jesus and the 12 disciples spoke, the Koine Greek, or the Syriac, right? Syriac, Eastern Peshitta, right? Okay, translated into English. These manuscripts that haven't been messed with since Thomas founded the Syrian Church of the East, and you gave it to these priests who then hid it for 2,000 years from Roman Catholics and Islam. They moved on to India, founded a church there, gave them a copy of those manuscripts, whatever, right? So these people hid them for 2,000 years, and you got AramaicScriptures.com, the Aramaic scriptures, or the Holy Aramaic scriptures. You've got Andrew Gabriel Roth, who translated the Kabbalist Codex, etc., in from the Eastern Syriac Peshitta into English, who testifies that it's from the originals. You've got the once head patriarch Yeshai Shamun, 1957, who was later assassinated, testifying that the church received the originals from the very hands of the disciples, Thomas and Jude, and they've been hidden and preserved for 2,000 years, and to this very day hadn't been tampered with, right? And you got Victor N. Alexander, a native-born Mesopotamian Aramaic-speaking translator, filmmaker, right? That's translated the Syrian Aramaic, or Assyrian, Tav Asheret, as the Jews know of. There's portions found in one of the Talmuds. I don't know which one it is exactly. Yeah, other people, right, that can verify this stuff. You know, can testify that to these original manuscripts, whatever. Right? Okay. Yeah. So what are these guys saying? This lady just came up with this wild idea that the number of the beast. She doesn't give us stuff where you got it from. If you heard it somewhere else before, you know, you got it from somewhere else. A, like the Bible, or B, some top theologian, right, with all the qualifications, PhDs, doctorates, whatever. Because she's right, what she discovered is right. She has to tell everybody, you know, and she spells out the coronavirus, right, and says, oh, that's the mark of the beast, using the English alphabet, not the Hebrew or the Aramaic, right? Aleph, would have been Aleph Bet, whatever, right? She's not using it. Okay, she's come up with this wacky idea. So I found this guy, anyway, to get to the real meat and potatoes. I found this guy, David Jeremiah. Okay, I thought he was this other guy that died, Ravi Zacharias. I kind of like that Ravi guy. Unfortunately, he passed away. But this guy, yeah, I've sort of read about this guy. Maybe he's part of those prosperity churches. I really don't know. It's not. I'm not picking on him, you know, in particular, but all of these sort of preachers, right? All of these evangelists, TV evangelists, whatever, who are telling everybody this end time prophecy, this Antichrist, God's judgment, all that sort of stuff, according to the modern American Bibles, which are all of the Bibles of the world. Okay, they're all from the American Bible, the American missionaries, right, which they had translated from the King James Version into English, okay, palatable English. Apparently they tried to translate it into Syriac, but messed it up, so they just did the English version, which became all the Bibles of the world, okay, all those copies, ASV, ESV, whatever, AVSB, whatever, different, you know, New King James, whatever, sorry, yeah, all these other ones, right, NIV, right, so you're getting this latter, probably Hellenized Greek, and then from the Latin and la 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 la, you know, probably about 5th or 6th generation copies of copies of copies of copies of a copy of a copy of a copy, you know, as Bart Ehrman says, you know, mentioned many times already. You're not getting it from the original manuscripts, and you can dream it like the lady. You can dream of anything. You can make up anything. Somebody out there will believe it, right? You tell the lie often enough, and they'll soon, you know, someone will soon believe it. It'll become the truth. Adolf Hitler, right? That's what he said, right? Because he knew, you know, because he told lies and just told them over and over and over and over again until people believed it. Okay. Yeah, it's a known fact that that's what you can do. So yeah, I'm exposing all these circus clowns, right? That are saying all this crap and it's all true and all that sort of stuff. When I've done the research, done the homework, right, and I know what they're like, you know, in their denomination, any of their devotees or whatever. But yeah, some preachers I've met, whatever, talked to, whatever, right? It's just full of cack, you know, full of crap, you know, mistranslations, bad transliteration, 3rd or 4th generation, whatever, you know. I'm pinpointing it out on my other YouTube channel called Couch Kumara, right? I'll probably leave a link down the bottom there under this video if you want to go have a look at that. Yeah, exposing them all and bringing out the truth according to established fact or established facts, the evidence, right? The proven evidence, that which is infallible and proven infallible and irrefutable, right? Because I'm sick of all the hype, the fluff, and the BS. You know, somebody up there, please shut up and you know, do your homework, stop telling lies, and produce the real truth. Because that's what you claim, lies, this is the real truth, the gospel truth, whatever. When it's not. Yeah, most times it's not. There are some people out there, exceptions, that are doing the same sort of thing. But I'm doing it on a large, major scale, right? I get flack all the time, so that's telling me something, right? You know, people get all upset because I'm educated. I'm a teacher, right? In this regard, okay. Trying to tell them make them aware. Look, what you're saying is wrong. It's incorrect according to, if these are the original manuscripts in the original language, translated into English, then that's not what he said. Okay? And all this was well, compare your KJV, which is 1611, right? It came out in 1611 by King James Stewart, who was a Scotsman. Okay? And then they say, oh, but that's the only Bible authorised to be read in the churches. Bull cucker, right? If you read it properly and come to understand it properly, okay, he kicked out the Roman Catholics and kept them at bay, right? So they could have a new English version that all the people can read. That's what Luther was going to do, right? He stuck it up on the that church door. Yeah, so people, in English, whatever, so that people can read it, because they were never allowed to read it, never allowed to know what was actually in there, right? So they could have been telling them lies for centuries and going across lands and forcing other people, like the Waldeans or whatever, to convert, convert or die. All that sort of stuff. Okay, they converted. They were considered. They converted the Protestants, whom they hate. They don't like them, right? They wish they were all dead. They could get rid of them, but they just use them, right? Use them as suck-ups or whatever. Okay, so I'm listening to this guy, David Jeremiah, right? We'll have a listen to him. I put a comment underneath. Okay, I think I put a comment underneath. I'm sure I put a comment underneath. Oh well, you might. If I didn't, okay, yet, but I probably will. And this is what he's saying.
There are 25 different titles for Antichrist. Right. 25?
25. He's called the man of sin, the lawless one. You can just go right through it. And all of these titles are meant to give us a little glimpse into his character, his personality. He is the most wicked, most awful person. I mean, take Hitler and Stalin and Mao Zedong and all those people, wrap them all up to one and then multiply them, and you won't even come close to the awful character of this man. And he's going to gain control of this world, and everyone will be under his domination, because if they aren't, they won't be able to function.
So David, our audience curiosity, my curiosity is, where does this man come from? What can you tell us about him based on biblical revelation?
Right. I believe he comes out of the European coalition. The Bible says that early in his career, he takes power over 3 nations, and then with those 3 nations he gets power over the European coalition, and then ultimately he comes to power over all the world. And when we talk about the false prophet in a few moments, you'll learn that his strategy for gaining control of the world is to provide a license for everybody to basically be alive. We call it the mark of the beast, but basically this license was set up to control the economy of the world, and the way you qualified to be able to eat and sell and buy and all of that was to worship the beast, who is the Antichrist.
Okay, let's stop for a minute and we'll verify that verse that that's just been put up, right? Revelations 13, 16, 17 in a modern version. Okay, I'll get the NIV here because the KJV is like a suitcase. It's really big. It's a big giant one. Okay, so that's what Revelations 13, 16, 17. Okay, we'll have a look here. According to the NIV, which is basically a modern version of the American Bible, 13, 16, 17. Okay. Read this. Okay. I'm going to start from the very beginning, actually, the beast out of the earth. Okay, this is on page 874. New International Version, Revelations 13:11, the beast out of the earth. This is John speaking. Then I, John, saw another beast. Okay, this is all symbolic, coming out of the earth. He had 2 horns like a lamb, but he spoke like a dragon. He exercised all the authority of the first beast on his behalf, and made the earth and its inhabitants, that's what the people do, right? Worship the first beast, whose fatal wound had been healed. Okay? And he performed great and miraculous signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in full view of men. Because of the signs he was given power to do on behalf of the first beast, he deceived the inhabitants, or the people of the earth. He ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast who was wounded by the sword and yet lived. He was given power to give birth to the image of the first beast so that it could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. He also forced everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name. This calls for wisdom or intelligence, right? If you've got a brain. If anyone has insight, intelligence, a brain, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is a man's number. His number is 666. It's been said that in the Hebrew, it's 616, but apparently it's not 666. And there's many people who translate it as, what was it, cowboy president, what's his name? Ronald Reagan, of late, President Trump, Obama, Nero, Leopold or something, all these different names, Pope Pius X or something, yeah, in the Greek and whatever, right? So people can't make up their damn mind who it actually is, right? Because they don't know. Okay, so that's from the NIV. Okay, you can go online to BibleHub.com or something similar to that, and you'll see all the different versions, from the NIV to the Berean Bible to contemporary English, right? And they'll have a lot of similar wording, and then they might have the odd different one, right? Okay, because they're trying to make it more palatable, put it into more palatable, easy to understand English. Okay, so I'm going to read to you from the supposed original manuscripts of the New Testament language spoken by Jesus and the disciples, Galilean Aramaic, right? When you say, oh no, he didn't speak that, he spoke Greek, all this sort of crap. Wrong. Okay, says here on the back cover, right? Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus the Messiah, Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus the Messiah, spoke in the Galilean dialect of Asherit, the language spoken at Nineveh at the time of Jonah the prophet, commonly known as Ancient Aramaic. This is the language in which the disciples and the apostles preached the gospel, and the scribes recorded the scriptures. The New Testament has been preserved in the sacred scribal language since the apostolic age. The whole Bible was originated in this language. Well, if he does the Old Testament and it's in the ancient Syrian Aramaic or Asherit, okay, there's a difference here then, isn't there? Okay, this translation, the Aramaic New Testament, or the other name given to it, the Disciples' New Testament, right, is made from the original Aramaic text directly into English, from the manuscripts, right, the original manuscripts given by Thomas to this church that they founded in the Assyrian Church of the East, in Urhai, Edessa, now modern Turkey. Okay, go do your research on it, if you can find it. Bypassing the errors of the Greek original, the Latin Vulgate, and all the other Western translations made from them. This is an effort to rekindle the apostolic faith in the name of Yeshua Mashiach, or Ishur, in the Assyrian Aramaic, Jesus is the Messiah, throughout the world. Victor and Alexander. Okay, and then on the inside it's got a translator's note, and it talks about the Disciples' New Testament is a translation of the ancient Aramaic New Testament scriptures of the ancient Church of the East directly into English. The ancient Church of the East began in Jerusalem at the time of the disciples and apostles of Yeshua, or Ishur Mashiach, Jesus the Messiah. The ancient Aramaic scriptures were compiled into one book in the middle of the 4th century AD by the scribes of the ancient Church of the East in the city of Urhai, later called Edessa. Urhai was in Asia Minor, today's Turkey. It had the first university in the world, and Yeah, you say it's where the scriptures, the sciences, medicine, mathematics, history, and literature were taught. That's debatable. Okay. So yeah, you go to AramaicsCryptures.com and look at Andrew Gabriel Roth's statement saying that he's translated the Eastern Syriac Peshitta, right, by passing all the other ones. He's not using the Western or the Latin Vulgate or whatever, right? And then there's a message by the or quote by the once patriarch or head of that Assyrian church in 1957, before he was assassinated or whatever. And then this other guy, Ma Dink or whatever his name was, or Dink something like that, D-I-N-K-H or something, some weird name. He took over, right? He was an opposer of it, because there's two factions, there's two groups. One that it all originally started in Mesopotamia, and then they were attacked by the Persians. Some of them stayed there, right? And these other ones created a church somewhere else, right? But Thomas, coming from the church of that congregation in Jerusalem when it was destroyed, ran across lands like China, and then onto Urhai, Edessa, and now modern Turkey, and then down to India. Founded a church down there, and then was martyred, right? That's the one I'm talking about. Okay. From this supposed original Aramaic by Victor N. Alexander, because I found that Andrew Gabriel Roth at AramaicsScriptures.com doesn't seem to have done Revelations. I don't know why. What is the reason why he didn't do it? Okay, anyway, so I'm going to read you from Revelation 13, 16, 17, right? To what, when translated, what it says in English from that original manuscripts, from that original language, by translated by a native-born Mesopotamian Aramaic-speaking translator filmmaker, right? Okay, Revelations 13, 1. And, it's got parenthesis here, the dragon stood on the sand of the sea, and I, that's John the Revelator, saw that demon, okay, it's got a asterisk for a footnote indication, right, rising out of the sea. Okay, have a look at that, demon. Okay, I'm reading from page 500 of that Aramaic New Testament. So next to it on 501, footnotes. It always puts footnotes at the end of the chapters, right, to explain it, because they use a lot of in the Aramaic, the Hebrew, the Greek, they use a lot of idioms, okay, expressions that don't necessarily mean what you think they mean in English. Okay, that's just the way they thought and spoke, right, and wrote things down, okay, to express it. Okay, footnotes 13.1 lit.ar.id, which means literal Aramaic idiom used, okay, inhumane creature or anti-man, okay, rising out of the sea, that has 10 horns and 7 heads, and on its head the names of blasphemy. So it's a configuration of some sort, right? Okay. And the demon that I, John, saw resembled a tiger, and its feet were like gold, and its mouth like the mouth of lions, and the dragon gave it its power and its throne and great authority. So that's like probably symbolic for some nations, right? Okay, a couple of nations there. And the dragon, that's symbolic of the devil, the old serpent, supposed to be Satan, right? Gave it his power and his throne and great authority. 3. And one of its heads, okay, as though cut and dying, footnote, which was at 13.3. Okay, 13.3. Literal Aramaic idiomatic expression, cut to death. Okay, it had a giant cut on it. Yeah, that's symbolic, right? Cut to death. Okay, so they basically died. Okay, was no more. Okay, literal Arab. Oh yeah, okay. Is it, where are we? Oh my goodness, I've lost it. Yeah, and one of its heads as though cut and dying, and from under its own death it pulled through. Literal Aramaic idiomatic expression, pushed out. Okay. So maybe another head grew from it. That's what it's talking about. It's like a bit like Medusa. Cut off one head, you know, of this 6-headed snake or serpent, whatever it is. Another one grown in its place. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And one of its heads as though cut and dying, and from under its own death it pulled through. Okay, pushed out. And the whole world, that's all inhabitants of the earth, Okay, that's all the inhabitants of the earth. Okay. Was enthralled or excited or overjoyed in the wake of that demon. Okay, of that anti-man, inhumane creature, and they worshipped the dragon, right? Since it gave authority to that demon, whether they knew it consciously or unconsciously, right? And who could do battle with him? That's what they asked. Who can beat him? Because he was given a mouth to utter abominations. He was strong. He probably went out and conquered, like the world deans, the competition, right? Subdued them. Fought battles. Nobody could beat them. Yeah. And he was given a mouth to utter abominations. Footnote. Nonsense and blasphemies. Okay, and he was given authority to do so 42 months. Okay, so 5, 35. Little nonsense. Okay, but get this. This is going to be a kick in your nuts, right? Translates here. There's got an indication of a footnote, asterisk, right, for verse 5. Okay, here it says, during the ministry of Joshua, or Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah. You're like, oh my gosh, really? You won't find that in your modern versions, right? But it's in the original language, right? Spoken by the disciples, and written, revealed by John. Okay, he probably spoke it. Being a disciple. Okay, being a close disciple. Okay, so this was going down during the ministry of Christ. Okay, that's what it says here. It's not my words; it's what's written here in English from the translation. It was going on in his ministry era, right? The days he was ministering, right? I think it was Christ, or it was either Paul, one of those two. I think it might be Christ. He actually says, that the Antichrist is coming, right? To the people that were around him, perhaps the disciples or whoever, right? And he said, but in fact, he's already here. Okay, find that verse. And some might leave it out. Some will say, oh, it was added. It's not there, it's added. All that sort of stuff. Okay, well, that's what he said, supposedly. That's already here. The Antichrist is already here. Okay? If it says during the ministry of Joshua, or Yeshua, or Jesus the Messiah, Joshua, the equivalent in that is in English for that is Joshua. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and he was given a mouth to utter abominations or nonsense and blasphemies, and he was given authority to do so 42 months. Who gave him the authority? Right, God. God is in charge of everything, isn't he? So he, like the devil is limited. Look at the book of Job. He's very limited. He's like a sidekick. He's a flunky doing the work, whatever God allowed him to. He was limited. Okay, go and ask a rabbi, and they'll tell you that as well. If you read that to them, they'll tell you. Yeah, he's limited. Okay, and he opened his mouth to limited in what he can do. And he opened his mouth to blaspheme against Allah. That's the title of God. He never had a name. It's like the Jews. They won't utter. If there's a name of God, they won't utter it because they say it's too sacred to pronounce. Right? So they call him Hashem. Okay. Allah, title of God, not name. He never had a name, but God in original manuscripts didn't exist, right? To blaspheme against his name, or his title, and his abode, where he dwells, okay? And, parenthesis, against those who dwell in heaven. The heavenly host, right? The angels, whatever, right? And he was given authority, the power, right? The authority over all generations and nations and tongues and peoples. Footnote there. Motherlands, okay? All countries, right? All countries. That's what it's saying. Didn't hit this out. The motherland. He was talking about Germany, wasn't he? Yeah. He always referred to countries as motherland there. So he had power over the motherlands. Okay? Authority over all of them. Generations and nations and tongues and peoples. And, here's another kick in the nuts, and he was given authority to do battle with the saints and to defeat them. Okay? be victorious over, conquer them. He'd battle against them if they want to battle them. He'd battle them, mentally, physically, spiritually, whatever it took, right? And they worshipped him if they were forced. Okay, either you convert or chop your head off. Burn all your books and stuff, burn everything. Take your wives away. Have our way with them, whatever they do. All of them who dwelled on earth, your children shall be our slaves, whatever. Those who name, and they worshipped him. Okay, they came under him, right? Under that power. Okay, they submitted to him. All of them who dwelled on earth, those whose name is not written in the book of life. Okay, these are the pretenders. These are the ones who say, "Oh, I'm into Jesus, I'm all this, I'm a Christian, I'm Catholic, whatever," but they're not. Okay, well, they got the wrong testimony, doing a false church, or they interpret the scriptures wrong, and whatever, whatever reason behind that, right? Those whose name is not written in the book of life, the book of eternal life, right? Not found there, of the Lamb who was sacrificed, Christ, right? From the foundations of the universe, from the very beginning. Okay. Some people say, "Oh, that means that it's predetermined," or that sort of stuff. Not necessarily. Predestined, whatever. Not necessarily. Okay. If a human being has ears, then listen. If a human being, there, takes captives, by captivity he is taken. Footnote. Okay. 9. Doesn't have it there. Sometimes he makes mistakes and he puts a footnote indication, asterisk, and then isn't written in there because he was old, forgetful probably. Okay, didn't notice it. If a human being kills by the sword, he is destined to be killed by the sword. This is the justification. In the footnote, this is the justification. Again, it's not there because he hasn't put 13:9, but he hasn't put the thing in the footnote. Whatever. For the hope and faithfulness of the saints. Okay. 11. And I saw another demon, inhumane creature, anti-man, that rose from the earth, and he had 2 horns resembling those of a ram, and he spoke as a dragon. Right? It's like, how do you translate that? It's like, "Oh Jesus, all this preaching, all that sort of stuff, and you act all holy roller, but you're actually not. You're a false prophet, right? Twisting the scriptures, teaching people, wrong, all that sort of stuff. False church. Okay, you sound like a holy person, but behind the scenes you're, the devil. You're not of God and all that sort of stuff. Okay, and he spoke as a dragon. Yeah. So it's like, let's say for example, okay, this is just an example, not picking on Islam. Like they say, "Oh, we come in peace, la 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 la," all this other stuff, right? We always have blah 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 blah, whatever, right? But then, if you joined it and left, right, they'd hunt you down, Fatmas or whatever they're called. You broken Shia law, they'll apply that, and they'll put you in sand, throw rocks at you. Yeah? So basically they speak with a holy role of, attitude, but behind the scenes they'll grab you and put you in a hole and, throw rocks at your head. Okay, well, put the sword for you, as they did in the Christian days, whatever. Burnt you at the stake. Okay. And all the powers of that first demon, or the authority of that first demon, he performed before them, and he made the world, everyone on the planet, the inhabitants, and those who dwell in it, so that they would worship that first demon, the one who became healed from under its own death. Okay, this is talking about the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, it was struck down in history, right? Lost its power for a while by certain kings, maybe in England, somewhere else. They said, "Oh, get rid of the Catholic Church, blah blah blah. They do this, they do that, they'll ruin the country, whatever like that." That sort of thing. Okay, and then they came. It's like they recovered, right? Some queen in England, like put them back, put them back as the church authority, okay? Put them back in their place of authority, right, as that main church. Okay, all the powers of that first demon he performed before them, and he made the world and those who dwell in it, so that they would worship that first demon, the one who became healed from its own death. Yeah, again, that's the Roman Catholic Church, and they went out there in the what do you call that thing? Spanish Inquisition, their Inquisition, the Crusaders, the Crusades, whatever, forced people to renounce death, whatever they believed in. They were the competition. So this Roman Catholic Church was out there trying to establish that they were the number one. They'd be the number one, the mother, right? So all the others buckled and became her daughters. Okay, these branches, even though some of them branched off, broke away, and said, "Oh, we blah blah blah, have no association." They actually do. They still do the rituals and dress up in the garb of the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, and he performed grandiose signs. Okay. Literal Aramaic, idiom cut up or consecrated. Okay. Okay. What's it? Cut up or consecrated? Made things, holy signs, alright? Yeah. Yeah, consecrated, yeah. Sacred. Holy. In appearance. 13. Oh, where am I going? Whereas even fire fell, literal Aramaic idiom by highway takes. See, this what's funny about Aramaic idioms, right? They don't always seem to appear to what we think they should be or do, right? It's kind of weird. So you got to understand where they're coming from. Why did they say that? Because they got an Eastern mindset, etc. Okay. Whereas even fire fell from the sky over the earth before humanity. Okay. Well, they got powers like they make Mary bleed and cry and all this sort of stuff. It's simply explained by people that look at it and say, "What the?" Okay, and they work it out. Yeah. And he misleads those who dwell on earth to be the slaves of the image of that demon. Okay, the one who had been struck by the sword and had lived. Yet the Catholic Church in him, was resurrected, and it was given to him to impart a spirit to the image of that demon, and to command that all those who do not worship the image of that demon be killed. To be killed. Okay, that could be Mary idol, statues, worship. I don't know. Just assuming on that one. Could be anything. Or giant idol, whatever, right? And it was given to him to impart a spirit to the image of that demon, and to command that all those who do not worship the image of that demon be killed. Right? Okay, so sends out the Inquisition, the Crusaders, whatever, or whoever, to go knock off the opposition, the competition, convert or die. Or and you got the other Inquisition where someone would say, she was sweeping the floor and a black cat walked across the floor. Oh, she's a witch. All that sort of crap, right? Because of one German monk that had a problem with women. Okay, but he used to frequent supposedly bathhouses or whorehouses, right? But he had a problem, and he wrote all this negative crap down in Latin, whatever, and tried to get this book compiled about witches and witchcraft and all this sort of stuff, how to recognise them, how to get rid of them, all that sort of stuff, trying to convince King James, right, who didn't really take it too seriously, right, or seriously at all. And he was saying that these other three top writers of the day, scribes or whatever, priests or whatever, were his backup. That they confirmed, yeah, this guy is right. Okay, and he was presenting it to the king, who was almost suckered. But these three people, right, these scribes, priests or whatever, they said, no, this guy's full of crap. We never authorised that. But this guy kept pushing it, until he ended up with the Witch Hunter's Manual, right, or Witchfinder's Manual, promoted by King James, and then you had the old Inquisition and the old, she sneezed, she must be a witch mentality. You know, people were knocking on each other, right? Handing each other in because they had hidden motives or agendas. Okay, yeah, he enslaved them all, the small and the famous, and the rich and the poor, and the children of the free, and the slaves were to be given a mark. Okay, so everyone had to come under it. Okay, that's why they went out and conquered, right? On a conquest, to conquer and convert. It could have been Constantine. Okay, could have been him, because that's what he did, right? When he went from putting them all under the sword. You know, it was illegal to be of that religion, and then later on he converts because he saw Jesus in a vision. You know, he put the this red cross, whatever, and on your shields and your clothing, right? And by this you shall conquer. But then Simcha Jovovich and this lady who had look at his victory arch, or his arch of triumph, or arch of victory. Like, you know, if he had put, like he was commanded on his shields and his shirts or whatever, their clothing, right? Which apparently I think the Crusaders did later, and they had on their shield and their shirts, and it wasn't there, and someone had chipped out the face of Constantine, and underneath there's nothing about Jesus, no picture of Jesus there, you know, or Christ, but every other pagan deity, I think it was a sea god, Mithra, fish god, something like that. There's about 3 or 4 of them, but no Christ, right? Because the guy was a pagan, and he had that, you know, he established Christianity as the official Roman state religion, right? No more persecution of Christians, okay? But he also influenced. He was also a pagan, so he mixed the two. Okay, there's videos by I think it's that same guy, Simcha Jovovich. We found out, you know, from his investigations that he does, that the Romans were like, some of them were Christians, right? But they still did the pagan thing. Like you'd have a mass church in a church above them, right, and they'd be down the bottom worshipping Mithra, you know, all these different gods. They'd carved them, had idols and all that, whatever, you know, down there, and symbols and whatever, all that sort of stuff. So they were doing both. Even some Christians would gather at a certain place, and they'd have like this little icon of Mithra, yeah. You can tell by the symbols and all that sort of stuff. And they used to carve X's, because yeah, apparently they never used a cross till Constantine, you know, made it official, you know, the official symbol of Christianity. They all like the like John the Baptist and the disciples, whatever. They, you know, when they baptize somebody or bless somebody, whatever, they put an X, not a cross. Okay, it wasn't made a cross. The cross wasn't used officially until the edict of, well, you know, the era of Constantine. Okay, go watch that documentary. Okay, so where were we? Okay, okay. So he enslaves them all, the poor, the famous, the free, the small, the tall, whatever. Whereas to be given a mark. Footnote here. What's the mark? Okay, where are we? He enslaved them all. He enslaved them all. Right. 1816. Okay. 1816. Maybe I lost it. Okay. Grand literal. Okay, oh, here we go. Here it is. Literal Aramaic idiom. Authorization, certification, stamp, seal, or commission. Okay, on their foreheads. What's that? Authorization. Obviously gives them a right to be part of that church, okay, that power, okay. He's authorized, he makes himself authorized to go out and convert people to that, right, or his people, right. They get a certification, confirmation, you know, confirmation certificate, yeah, a stamp, okay, an identifying, you know, mark, symbol, whatever. Maybe a bald head, you know, shave the head, leave a little bald patch, you know, something like that, so you can recognise them, right? Maybe a big giant cross around your neck, the way to dress, and all that sort of stuff, right? Okay, well, you look like a nun, Okay, where are we? Okay. Or commission, right? So you've got some sort of authority. You're a friar, whatever. You then go out and do this stuff, enforce it on their foreheads, right? They had that power. Okay, let's say when I went to this church up the road here, we were saying that you get the sign, the seal, whatever. It's to do with your forehead is like how you think, your mind, whatever, right? And then your hands, marks on your hands is like symbolic for your work, right? It's kind of weird. Yeah. Yeah. It's in regard to your hands represent work, your work, right? Your employment. Okay, so on their right hands or between their eyes, so that no one could sell or buy except he who has the mark of that demon or the number of his name. Okay, so yeah, obviously through that church you might eventually become limited, like they say, right? They're saying today, right? Okay, or it could be. I actually thought it could be something to do with the Jews, right? The Jews in Germany and that, right? They couldn't buy, sell, or whatever unless they had that identifier, which was that Star of David. It could be like that, because Hitler had the blessing of the Roman Catholic Church. You see photos of him, these bishops, Orthodox bishops, all dressed in black or whatever, smiling at him. He's standing there in front of the Roman Catholic Pope at the time. He's smiling at him, right, giving him a blessing. Okay, yeah, that could have been it. Okay, so that no one could sell or buy except he who has the mark of that demon or the number of his name. Okay, under the Catholic Church. Yeah. Here there is wisdom. Whoever has a mind should count the number of that demon. That have a brain, intelligence. Sum up, calculate the number of that demon, and identify who he is or who it is. For it is the number of a human being. It's not the number of a coronavirus. It's not a coronavirus, right? And all that sort of crap. Those are letters, not numbers, right? It tells you there. Even in the modern version, it is a number of a human being. Okay, and he's not saying and his alphabet, right? Well, the alphabet that he's using, right? It's saying his. It solely belongs to him. Number is 666, right? I've heard that it's 666 or whatever. It's like 600, 106. It's supposed to be some Illuminati code and all this other crap, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's even one I saw online. It was www or VVV in the Jewish. Adds up to 666. So the internet is the devil's playground and all this sort of crap. Yeah, and then that lady saying, oh, it's the coronavirus. Oh my gosh. Last year was Trump, or before that was Obama, Ronald Reagan, Nero. Can't make up your damn mind, man. Can't be all of them. Okay. It's one specific man, inhumane creature, right? Okay, so yeah, it says here, have a brain. Anyone that has intelligence, wisdom, whoever has a mind, has a brain, right? So that's basically it from the original Aramaic into English. Okay, so we'll carry on with this guy and see what he has to say.
Beast from the sea, and so that's where we get the mark of the beast, and he gains control over all the world. Here's the key thing that he does: he makes a covenant with Israel at the beginning of his career. And he promises to protect them from all of their Arabic enemies, and so Israel goes back home, and they kind of disarm. They use all of their inventiveness and try to rebuild their economy. And the Bible says while they're at peace, he comes in and he breaks the covenant that he had made with them.
So the peace treaty is negated.
At the end of 3.5 years, he comes in and he violates their temple. He comes in and he destroys. See, when he makes the covenant, he says you can continue your worship. at the end of the 3.5 years, he says, "That's it, no more. I'm going to be worshipped now." You.
Okay, so yeah, basically, if you don't like the idea that I keep interrupting the guy, well, you can go have a look at the video yourself in your own time, right? At your own leisure. Okay, but this guy is saying something which is based on Christian theology in the modern American Bible. I've just read you what it says in the ancient Aramaic from the original disciples in the original language, original manuscripts given to the original Church of the East, right? And translated by an Aramaic-speaking Mesopotamian and a Christian or Messianic Jew, Andrew Gabriel Roth. So what's this guy giving you? He's giving a latter supposed interpretation, like trying to fit it with events today, right? So is he blaspheming? Is he telling a load of rubbish? Because the ancient manuscripts that they don't have nothing to they'll deny, you know, they say, oh no, this guy's all crap, you know. Perhaps Andrew Gabriel Roth or whoever, Victor Alexander, who, if he wasn't sick and losing his mind or whatever it was because of his meds, because the old guy, right? If they front it up and says, no, here's proof that this is the original manuscripts, here they are, blah blah blah, or the Carboris Codex or whatever, right? Then what are these guys going to say if it proves to be real, genuine, right? The genuine article. Where does it leave this guy? A false preacher, right? They're pushing crap out into the world amongst their churches, their followers, whatever, right? Because they've got an agenda. I'm not totally picking on this man. I don't even know this man, right? But yeah, probably associated with or tied to the false church mentioned in Revelations, right? The whore of Babylon. Okay, because that's what church, the woman on the beast, whatever, or the whore is representative of, symbolic of this false church. Okay, it could be the Roman Catholic. It seems to point to that, right? And many point to that, but it could be the Jesuits behind it. It could be Zionism. It could be anything, right? But it's something behind that, right? Okay. Well, by the looks of it, the Pope is the authority figure. He gets to be called Vicarius or Papa God or whatever they call him. Venerated as the only medium between God and man. Yet they try to put Mary as fourth of the Godhead, the Trinity, right? And all that sort of stuff. Roman Catholics deny it. I saw it in a Catholic magazine titled, right, in 2000, that the Pope wanted to elevate Mary to status of the fourth person of the Godhead, right? It was in a New York Times article in December 23rd, 2003. Go look online. People say, oh, you're rubbish, you quote, but you got no knowledge. Shut up, go and do your research. Again, sorry for being so blunt, but I get this all the time. I'm bringing you the truth according to this, with the facts, established facts, the sources, the links to those sources, right? By these experts, by these original translations, blah blah blah, whatever, right? And you're saying I'm full of crap. Why? Because you are a defender of that sect, that religion, organized religion, that belief system, right? And you're being programmed to defend it at all costs, to the death, right? And that's what you'll do. Okay, even if you have to make crap up, you'll defend it like that, right? Because you've been so brainwashed by it. Okay, these are the facts, right? But once you get out of that organised church, which is controlling you, saying you're not allowed to think for yourself, you're not allowed to examine it and think for yourself, you're not allowed to question it. It's an old saying, right? If the Bible proves to be a lie, believe it anyway. That sort of thing. Right? They're pumping all this false information, and they'll change it every year. They'll say, someone else will come up and might pose a threat. They'll say, oh, it's the 666 guy is what's that Trump's woman's name, Melania or something, or George Clooney. He's the Antichrist, or where's the Vin Diesel. He just suddenly revealed he's the Antichrist. They keep changing all the time to fit the times. Okay, So, yeah, just be careful of these guys, right? Let's have a bit more listen to this guy.
Don't worship anymore. And in what the Bible calls the abomination of desolation, the Antichrist actually goes into the Jewish temple. I mean, this is hard to comprehend. He goes into the Holy of Holies. He removes all the furniture and he sets up a statue in the Holy of Holies, which is an idol unto himself. And he requires the whole earth to bow down and worship.
What degree of persecution does Antichrist empower?
You know, it's interesting. It's a very insightful question because it's not.
Okay, he said the abomination of desolation, right? Sets it up within the Jewish temple rebuilt and all that sort of stuff, right? And they reckon that they've dug underneath that temple and it's come towards the Dome of the Rock, and this is easy to go, and Islam was getting more snotty, right? But if you go look at Roy Casagrande, The Rise of Islam, he explains to you what went on down there when the Romans attacked it, killed a whole lot of Jews because they kept throwing rocks at them, right? Wouldn't stop. And their top people or whatever, they told them to get lost, whatever, right? It's a completely different story because the guy, the leader of the Romans, he says, oh, let's go and pray together. You can pray your style, I'll pray my style. And the guy says, oh, no, we're not going to pray there's an abandoned church yet. No, because the followers will want to either tear it down or make it into a mosque, right? So we need to pray on the outside, away from that, in a clear area, outside, right? No building or whatever. Because what he said was that his people would then venerate him as the one that led them to Jerusalem, right? That spot, his name was Omar, and then they'd build a building, a mosque on that spot, in memory of him, right? So that's what they did. That's the Dome of the Rock, supposedly, right? So some Christians told me, oh, that's that's the Dome of the Rock. It's abomination and all this sort of crap. They tell me all these scriptures. So they must be wrong, according to the historical facts, right? And they make out, oh, Islam, Mohammedanism, all this bad, all this sort of crap. Right? Yeah, okay, today they are, but then they weren't. Okay, because I spoke to a black Muslim after seeing Roy Casagrande's video lecture, Rise of Islam, right? I didn't know all those names like the Islam people do, but he said, yeah, what you've told me is accurate. That guy is accurate, right? Today's Islam are nasty, right? They're really like extremists and nasty. But those days, in Omar's day, okay, they wanted revenge in that for 100 years of the Romans persecuting, killing, raping their people, right? Their wives, whatever, right? And they were out for revenge. They were all ready to go, slaughter them all, But this Omar apparently said, no, we're not like that. That's not us. What we'll do, they can take all their gold and crap, right? Whatever they can carry, but there's no cart. They've got to carry it out of there, right? If that's what you want, you put it in a bag, whatever, you carry it. No cart. He had mercy at least, right? So they were merciful in those days. You had an option, either convert to Islam, or get your head chopped off, or some other alternative, right? So that's why they venerated, they revered this dude, right? Because if they had gone in there, they would have slaughtered everybody, But these evangelists and whatever make out that they were the nasties, when it was the Crusaders were the nasties, right? Or the Romans, whatever, were the nasties. Yeah, Crusaders nasties as well, because they were hired mercenaries, weren't they, from the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, so you really need to do your research, find out the actual history, the real history, the truth. Don't believe these clowns, because they're leading you down the wrong path, right? Because apparently a lot of these guys, they like start off real well, like Billy Graham and all that, and then they do something. Let's say, what's his name? The Baker guy. What's his name? Jim Baker or something like that. Is it Jim Baker? No, wrong guy. I was gonna say Sweeney Todd. Swaggart. Jimmy Swaggart started off good, right? Gets caught with a prostitute, dirty videos under the seat or something twice. That sort of stuff, right? Yeah, ripping off the church. Okay, they do that sort of stuff. They're ripping off the people and telling them false stuff while they're telling all these scriptures and they're holy roller while they're frequenting with prostitutes, going into pawn shops, buying videos and then hopping in the car for prostitute, You know, that sort of stuff. And then later on crying about it because obviously it was true. They got busted, right? You know, I'll never do it again, sorry about that, and they do it again. You know? So what does that tell you? Right? They like have horns of a lamb, they're all holy roly, right? But behind the scenes, they're like a dragon, right? You know, full of crap. You know? Yeah, doing devious things behind your back, you know, with your money and that they've snatched off you, and all that sort of stuff. That's why you got to do the research on these people, check out their background, you know, do it like a journalist, be like a journalist, right? Yeah, so yeah, I think this is quite long. I might end it there. I hope this was very informative for you, clears up any confusion, you know, that I've brought you the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but that truth, right? Because honesty is my best policy, right? And if I have this congregation, I've created this congregation, I'm registered as a minister, okay, educated teacher, I use the old Aramaic, right? We're Mashikai, we're not Christians, okay, because for the very reason that with that label comes all the crap, because people see them, hear them, come up to them, and they say blah blah blah, you know, and then they're like, they come across them in a bar on Monday. Hey, I thought you was a Christian preacher. You're full of crap, you know, or they, you know, get busted on the news for kiddies or frequenting prostitutes or whatever, you know. Was it Sunday the holy roller? Monday the holy rolling up a joint, you know, or whatever. You know, but that's, you know, that's what people do. Makes you human. It makes you, you know, prone to mistakes and temptation and all that sort of crap. But yeah, it seems like the porno, that sort of sordidness, is what gets these guys every time. The devil knows that we're all carnal, you know. We're all carnal, you know. He knows what to get us on, if that's, you know, if there's a Satan and a devil, whatever. If that planet Lucifer is the one tempting us, you know. Yeah, so I think I might leave it at that. It's not a personal attack. It's just exposing them for their fluff, their hype, their BS, right? And bringing the truth to the surface, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, the real truth, you know? Because there's a lot of hype, fluff, and rubbish out there being pushed out there, told us and sold us as the gospel truth, you know, when it's really a gospel spoof. Okay, that's enough of me. Okay. Contemplate this, mediate, ponder over it, whatever. You know, think long and hard. Do your own research. Okay? And I will see you later.